President Nikolai Volkov sat in his office overlooking the bustling capital city of Yeva. The room was filled with sunlight, but a dark shadow loomed over the president's thoughts. An urgent report had just landed on his desk, and the contents were disturbing.
Mr. President,
said General Markov, the head of the Ministry of Defense, his voice tinged with anxiety.
we have received multiple reports of Barney-related incidents springing up across the city. It appears Anya, before her demise, managed to infect several other residents.
Volkov's eyes narrowed, his usually composed demeanor faltering for a moment.
How is this possible? We haven't had to worry about Barney for over a millennium.
General Markov shook his head.
We are still investigating, but it seems these individuals, now identified by their glowing purple eyes, have created Barney portals in their homes. These portals are directly connected to Earth.
The president rose from his seat, pacing the room.
This is a grave situation. Our methods are outdated, and our people are unprepared for such a threat. We need to act swiftly and decisively.
General Markov nodded.
I've mobilized the Defense Ministry to address these incidents, but the panic is spreading. We need a coordinated response from all ministries to contain this threat.
Volkov paused, considering the gravity of the situation.
Summon the heads of all ministries for an emergency council. We need to devise a comprehensive plan.
Within the hour, the leaders of the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Education and Research, Environmental Management, Infrastructure and Transportation, Justice and Civil Affairs, Trade and Industry, Communication and Information, Agriculture and Food Security, and Culture and Heritage gathered in the President's War Room. Volkov addressed them, his voice steady and authoritative.
Ladies and gentlemen, we face an unprecedented crisis. Barney's influence has resurfaced, infecting our citizens and creating portals to Earth. Our methods are outdated, and our people are in a state of panic. We must unite our efforts to protect Silver 7.
Minister Petrova of the Ministry of Health and Welfare spoke first.
We need to identify and quarantine the infected individuals. Our medical teams must develop a way to detect and neutralize this infection.
Minister Ivanov of Education and Research added,
Our scientists will work on understanding the portals and finding a way to close them. We must also educate the public on identifying signs of infection.
Minister Sokolov of Infrastructure and Transportation suggested,
We should set up barriers around affected areas and ensure safe transport routes for evacuation if necessary.
Minister Lebedev of Justice and Civil Affairs declared,
We will enforce strict laws against Barney worship and take immediate action against any suspicious activities.
Minister Kuznetsov of Communication and Information emphasized,
We need to control the flow of information to prevent panic. Our media channels must provide clear and accurate updates.
Volkov listened intently, nodding as each minister spoke.
Excellent. Each ministry will have a crucial role in this operation. General Markov, coordinate with all departments to ensure our efforts are unified.
As the heads of the ministries filed out of the room, General Markov lingered behind, his expression grim. President Volkov noticed and turned to him.
Is there something else, General?
Markov stepped closer, his voice low and urgent.
Mr. President, with the situation deteriorating rapidly, I believe it would be prudent to move the capital and your operations to the city of Obnedivyushchi Pioneer. It's more secure and strategically positioned. We need to ensure the continuity of governance while we tackle this crisis.
Volkov nodded, understanding the gravity of the suggestion.
Very well. Make the necessary arrangements for the transfer. I'll inform the staff to prepare for the move.
As Volkov was escorted to an armored helicopter, Markov watched it lift off, carrying the president to safety. He then turned his attention to the task at hand and made his way to the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transportation. Minister Sokolov was already waiting in his office, looking tense but resolute.
General Markov, I understand you have a containment plan?
Markov nodded.
Yes, Minister. We need to build a containment wall around the entire city of Yeva. No one goes in or out until we have this situation under control. The latest reports suggest that living dinosaur suits are coming through the portals. We can't risk this spreading further.
Sokolov's eyes widened.
Living dinosaur suits? This is worse than we thought.
Indeed.
Markov replied.
We need to act fast. Mobilize your teams and start the construction immediately. We'll provide military support to ensure the perimeter is secure during the construction.
Sokolov nodded, picking up his communicator.
I'll get my best engineers on it right away. We'll need to coordinate closely to ensure we have all the materials and manpower required.
As the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transportation mobilized their resources, construction teams and military units began to converge on Yeva. The city, once a beacon of hope and progress, was now at the epicenter of a desperate struggle for survival. Back at the temporary command center in Obnadzevyushye Pyana, President Volkov monitored the situation closely. He stayed in constant communication with Markov and the other ministers, coordinating efforts and making critical decisions. The containment wall around Yeva began to take shape, a massive structure designed to hold back the encroaching threat. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their eyes scanning for any signs of the infected or the living dinosaur suits emerging from the portals. Inside Yeva, the situation grew more dire by the hour. Anya's infected followers continued to spread chaos, their purple eyes glowing with malevolent intent. The Ministry of Defense teams worked tirelessly to identify and neutralize the threats, but it was a daunting task. Markov knew the battle was far from over. As he stood on the front lines, coordinating the containment efforts, he vowed to protect Silver 7 at all costs. The resilience of their society would be tested, but he was determined to ensure they would prevail. In Obnadzevyushye Pyana, Volkov addressed the nation, reassuring the citizens that their leaders were taking decisive action.
We will overcome this challenge.
He declared.
Together, we will protect our world and our future. Stay vigilant, stay united, and trust in our strength.